There you go. Okay.
Eh?
Hey, there's a hand raised already. So, and you can applaud, you can do all sorts of things. And look at the three dots, it gives you a bunch of things to do if you want. Okay, well, first of all, I want to welcome everybody to the chat.
I
The
can see
video.
on the story.
Hi, you know Alicia Susanna. Anyway, we're starting now. So, we're going to be having a great discussion today. My name is John Seeley. I'm a best-selling author, and I'm a friend of Liliana's, and she is an expert in past lives. And we're going to be talking about all the things that happen when people are looking into this and answer any questions you have. So if you have a question, later on you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself if you need a break and you can't get to us any other way and say, wait, I want to have a question. And then we'll do our best to answer those questions today.
Yeah.
And then if you somehow come up with a question after this is done, then just write to me and I will get it to Liliana. We'll try to answer that for you. So my email was probably in the invite that got you here. So it's on there, john@heartfirepress.com. And you can always get me then. Well, I'd like to put you on Facebook, and then this is live on my Facebook right now, but I've got like 4 Facebooks because they only let you have 5,000 people, and I've got more than 5,000 people connected. So I had to keep putting more on there. So my name is John Seeley, MA. I had to put on there because there's a lot of John Seeleys, unfortunately, because we came here in let's see, it was 1640. So that was a long time ago. So there's a lot of people with my name here. That's why I put the MA on there for my master's degree. So anyway, let's get started with Liliana. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this past life situation? I see you've got your books out there, which is great. By the way, we have it in Spanish and in English for
Yes,
either
the
one.
last in Spanish and the first in English.
There you go. And more to come. But this is a fascinating subject. I've actually I was a radio host and I've actually interviewed people who channeled other people who were dead. And we talked about past lives. It was really fascinating. So that's why I think that this is a great topic that a lot of people will find interesting. So anyway, Liliana, tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this.
Well, I was studying psychologist in Argentina, and I was reading the books of Dr. Ryan Weiss. And when I graduated, I knew that I was going to do something interesting and that I was going to be studying something abroad that will benefit my country. But I didn't think that I was going to do the training with Dr. Brian Weiss in 2006 at the Omega Institute. And so that was like a dream becoming true. And I wanted to do something more spiritual in the psychologist field, even though, as you know, that psychologists mean the study of the soul. Not many people know that.
No.
And sometimes we are so focused on the mind, and we are with our body and our mind and the soul. Where is the soul? No, sometimes we speak about the soul, we read about the soul, but we don't have the chances of experiencing it. So past lives regression is like the possibility to experience that we are soul having earth experiences.
Yeah.
So I was very happy and to do this training so many years ago, and it's the north of my life now, and I'm very happy to help people to to realize that what we are most afraid of is something that it doesn't hurt, that is going to be a relief. And I'm talking about the moment of our death and the moment of the death of our dear ones, you know. It's like it changes completely the way of seeing that moment. So I'm very happy to help people with that. And sometimes I wanted to accompany, I read the books of Dr. Kubler-Ross, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, because at the beginning I wanted to accompany people for the last moments of their lives, and then I changed. And so after my graduation, I went to the training, and since 1987, I'm a member of a Self-Realization Fellowship that it was founded by Paramahansa Yogananda in the 90s in California here. So the words of reincarnation, past lives were familiar for me from those teachings, you know. But then I wanted to people to have the experience of that, and also just to respect the suffering, you know, because sometimes when you suffer for so long, you need a comfort, a hug, that is going to be the end of sorrows, and just to see this life as a huge opportunity, and so as not to repeat mistakes from the past. So that's how I started.
Well, I've got some past life stories myself, and um, one of them was, and because I think one of the benefits you get is you can find out how your past lives might have influenced the current one, or how there may be some effect in the current one, and that's one of the benefits of having that. And so I was interviewing someone who channeled another person who died in 1922, but was a real person, was an author, was an ambassador from the United States. So documentation, he was real. And he was 99 back then. That's it's an old person. Anyway, and so I was talking with him, and then he started talking about my past lives. And I'm like, wow, because he talked about how um I had been killed many times for speaking out. Well, in
Mm.
this life, when I would sleep with my arm across my throat. And it was because of that I'd been killed so many times, where they cut my throat. And so once he told me that, I I stopped doing it. I didn't consciously stop doing it, but it's because I realized, oh, that was past life. That's not this life. I don't have to protect myself like that. And so that was just one small thing that came up when we talked about that. So I think that there's a lot of benefit to understanding the past lives. And for those of you who are movie fans, there's actually a movie called Defending Your Life. It's a romantic comedy. Albert Brooks is in it. He wrote it. And Meryl Streep, one of the best actresses of all time, is in it. And
Mm.
it is really cool. And they do talk about past lives in it.
Oh, nice. I will see
So
it.
I don't want to spoil it and tell you what they talk about, but it's pretty funny. So
Yes, but you said something very important, that is understanding, you know. And when you understand the conflicts of your family, or when you understand some fears, is like, oh, this belongs to the past, you know, and it gives more tranquility. I thought that Mary was trying to enter. He made a regression this week, and it was very interesting just to give the gifts also of past lives, no, because you experienced during the regression, some in the sessions that I do and that we are going to have next Saturday online. You are going to experience the regression, and then we are going to share well, what you have seen, what you have felt, you know. And understanding is the clue, John. Understanding is the clue.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me because I've had all different connections to past lives with a number of different people that we've encountered. I've realized certain people that I've actually been with them in a past life, and one of them recently had passed away. But before that, I made sure she knew, hey, we were in a past life together, and it really was clear to me that that had happened. So I know that there's connections from that life to this life or those lives, and it's fascinating to me. I actually met someone who we had the same dream the same night that we met, and the
Mm.
dream was she killed me in a
Oh.
past life. We were both natives, and we were fighting for leadership, and she got me in the back. So
Wow, but now you have the opportunity to be friends in this lifetime.
we do. But it certainly was an awakening. And the funny thing was, it was on that property that we were on. So because it was native land. So anyway, it was not in this
Wow.
country. So it was very interesting. Anyway, so there's been lots of fascinating things that happen where you don't think that these other lives might have influenced what's happening, and oftentimes it really does, as you've been finding out and is written about in your book.
Yes, and sometimes it's fascinating when you recognize the other through the eyes, you know. It's like you look at the eyes of the other person during the experience, during the regression, and your face may be different, but it's like we say, you know, the eyes are the door of the soul, and it's you recognize the people and
Yeah.
that you were with before.
In America, we say the windows to the soul because we can
The
look through them.
windows.
Close enough. The door probably had windows too. Anyway, but
I
yeah,
translated literally from Spanish,
yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. So the thing is, I really believe it's true. It's like you can actually recognize sometimes the person. Sometimes you just feel connected to them for no good reason. You have no conscious reason why you should, but you do. Well, that's probably what was going on. That's why I find your work is fascinating that people wanted to. And about the book, by the way, I'll put a link to the book in the on Facebook, and I'll send it to you in case you don't have it handy to pass it out to anybody who's interested. In fact, I should probably put it in the chat before we go. I'll see
And,
if I can do that. That way, if people want to get a hold of the book before they come and participate next week, they can read up about other people who have gone through this process, which is fascinating to me.
and I think it's going to be a perfect gift for Valentine's Days.
Yeah, wouldn't it be interesting? Like I said, if you find someone well that you've been with that didn't kill you, would probably be good.
Yes,
Uh,
sleeping with the enemy.
you know,
But
it's strange. In fact, I had again when I had my radio show, and I had someone said that the guy was talking about. He said, "Yeah, in your past lives, you lived with the Hopi Indians. You weren't a Hopi Indian, but you lived with them." Like, okay, that sounds like me. I would do something like that. And again, I was a shaman in some of the lives. I got killed a bunch of times. Anyway, so but I think it's just fascinating. So before we go any further, I'll start off the questions at least with just tell us what past life regression actually is.
well, past life regression is it's a tool that will help people. You know, it's a psychological, spiritual tool that help people to recall memories from past lives, and those memories will help you to face the present differently and in a state of conscious relaxation, because it's through deep relaxation you will recall memories, and you won't become a chicken or a dog. You know, you will always come back from the experience, and it will allow you um, to feel the soul, know what you are. And as we said before, to understand your present life and the opportunity to do something different from the past. And it's also very important to lose the fear of death, because during the experience, when next week we are going to experience a moment of relaxation, then we are going to practice before some uh, breathing techniques, and then after practicing these techniques, we're going to enter in the regression technique, and little by little, you are going to start recalling memories, and you're going to be aware of them, and you are going to be under control of the situation. You may open your eyes if you want to. And something interesting that I asked for permission to Dr. Brian Weiss to modify a little bit the procedure, and just to introduce the presence of the guardian angels, so as the people may feel protected, or just to have the guidance and throughout all the regression. And we are also going to ask for permission, because sometimes it's God put the kind of amnesia, It's like sometimes there are things that we don't need to remember. Okay, but there are things that we really do need to remember. And for those things, it's like, oh my God, why am I doing all the same things in all my relationships? Or why that's your book, I get stuck, and I cannot go forward in life. So we have to release some fears, and sometimes to overcome some symptoms and illnesses, and to understand why there are some pains that cannot be healed with medication or something, and it has to do with pains of the soul. Or one person, he recalled 5 lifetimes in one group session. Sandra is the witness of that. And he accompanied his girlfriend, because his girlfriend had lost her dad recently. And so he didn't have any clue about what this is about. And so, but he started recalling memories, and in one, he saw himself as a soldier who was knocked in his head. And then when, in a moment of sharing the experiences, he said, you know what? I suffer migraines since kindergarten. And I saw this soldier, I saw his face of pain. And 2 weeks later, when we had a private session, he told me that since that moment, he had never had migraine again. And so that was amazing, because it was not his intention. He didn't come to say, well, now I want to do this, so was to solve my migraine. No, it's just happened. And that's another interesting thing that Brian Way say, that for doing a regression, you must want to do it, but have zero expectations about that, So it's interesting. So that happened to Juan.
Well, I want to bring up a couple more things. So there's another movie about dogs called A Dog's Purpose. And in it, the dog goes through multiple lives. It's really cool. So they get to come along, just to let you know. So if you ever want to watch a great movie, it's called A Dog's Purpose, and you can find it on YouTube. Anyway, but
Talking about pets.
yeah, it's
A
a
dog.
dog that is a pet, and then he dies, but he comes back, and he ends up, I don't want to spoil it. So let's just say he comes back as multiple dogs. It's cool. So it does talk about pet past lives, as it were.
Dogs are allowed to participate, dogs, cats,
Yeah,
and during the regression, because they really feel the relaxation of the owners and they want
yeah,
to be with them. And it's very, very interesting to see how they relax and how they accompany, and they are really well. With Sandra, she was accompanied by two dogs, and they were totally sleeping and very, very, very relaxed. Yes. And in Instagram, I think 2 years ago, there is a cat in the belly of the patient going up and down because of her relaxation. And it's very interesting how the animals feel the
yeah.
relaxation.
And
Yes,
I
very
had a dog
sensitive.
that I loved that passed away. And then a couple years later, I was working with a Reiki person, and she goes, "Your dog is here." And I'm like, "What? Your dog's here?" And she's licking your face. And blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so yeah, they do hang around. They're able to come back in different forms. And also, don't forget the animated movie called Soul, which was about reincarnation. So there's a lot of other things out there about this.
Thank you, John. Thank
So
you.
let's talk about how you actually get to that state of remembering.
Well, it's through a deep relaxation. I will be guiding, and so that's why it's important. I have to thank a journalist from Argentina, and she asked me once when it was one of my most important regressions with myself. And I said, well, when Brian Weiss was presenting his book, Miracles Happen, and we were all connected through the Omega Institute, and we were 10,000 from all around the world. And I was in Buenos Aires with my computer like this, and like this, I was having my regression. And so she told me, hey, but if you had the regression, your clients, your patients may also have the regression through Zoom or through. I said, oh my God, that was before 2020. So since 2019, I started doing the regressions through Zoom. And Silvina is one of my patients from New Zealand, and she had the regression on Zoom online. So we don't need to be present, because as we are vibration, what is important is to listen to my voice. And through my voice, you will get relaxed and more relaxed. And in that state of relaxation, your memories will come. It's similarly as when you go to sleep and you have your dream. And here you will have sensations, you will smell, you may have different temperatures or sensations in your body, but you will be aware of that. And you do not lose conscious, you won't get stuck in any moment of the past, you will come back. And in that moment, in that moment of relaxation, you will recall memories, and it will be guiding different moments, the first moment, then we'll go 10 years forward, and then we are going to go to the last day of that life that you recalled. And if you had memories of different moments or different lives, you may go also to those last moment of those lives, And after that, and after recalling those memories, we go back to the garden where started the relaxation to receive a message from a sage from your present life. So it's very important, even though you don't remember, or if you cannot recall memories, just wait for the last moment, because you may have a surprise there. And I always say that Dr. Brian Weiss also tells in his seminaries that sometimes it took him 3 months for him to recall a memory. And fortunately, with my patients, sometimes I do I send, they can see, it's in Spanish, I have to do it in English, but relaxation with your angel, I will do it in English soon, just wait. And just to practice, but now in YouTube, people can listen to Brian Weiss relaxations just to train, and then they can experience the past lives sooner than before, now when we didn't have these tools that we have now.
You know, what came to me, and I'm writing a new book on trauma, and and I'll put links to all the different books that we're all talking about for yours and for mine. Um, and I think because I'm wondering right now, what came to me is, um, my parents were both in the United States Army in World War II. That's
Mm,
where they met.
mm,
And somehow I had a really big connection to World War II. And I thought, well, maybe I was a friend of theirs who got killed in World War II.
mm.
So my thought is, if we went and did a past life regression, would we recall the trauma like getting killed in World War II?
Yeah, that's why I think that I know that people, well, I talk about Pearl Harbor in the book. No, he said, I know that people who were there or who passed away there are loving now, because we come here again and again just to know how to love and how to forgive, and people who have to be soldiers in the past lives, or they had to fulfill duties like that. Sometimes in this life, they are doctors, or or they work for peace in either way, But I hope that, as Chopra said, no, it's a bad habits. Wars are bad habit of human beings, and we have to overcome them sooner.
Well, I did not go into the military in this life, so maybe I did learn a lesson from that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you do this past life regression, how do you know if it's a true memory or if it's just my imagination?
Yes, that's the question. Yeah. You will well, Brian Way say, well, it doesn't matter if it's part of your imagination or if it's real memory, but maybe it can be a combination of both. But what is important is that what you recall is gonna be important for your actual life, and you will realize, because it's something that you feel it in your body. Sometimes you cry when you're watching that scene, and if you are sitting here, so, well, I'm going to imagine that I've been in France in the mid in the 80s, or I don't have any feeling, it's like, okay. But if I'm living the memory, if I'm living the memory, sorry, living doesn't exist, but it's if I'm living the memory, you will experience, it's like your whole body shakes, and that is not part of your imagination. It's like you are recalling. It's like, and also when you are in a place, and that is part of my second book, or no, in the third book, is I had a dream when I was 16, and And my dream was with a lot of big pines, blue sky. And I said, hey, this is Italy, and I've never been in Italy. But when I went to Assisi my first time, I finished walking upstairs, and then I saw the dream that I had when I was 16. And I said, I had made a regression by that time, and I saw myself as a nun. And then I say, this is the place where I was a nun. This is the place that I had dreamed when I was 16. And I was like this, like all my body knew that this was the place. And I had to buy something in a church there. And I was writing my third book, and I said, I found a place where I was a nun. Um, so uh, the lady told me, I was with tears, and said, are you okay? Yeah, I'm just writing my third book. And so she asked me, what is your book about? It's about past lives. And then I was just an Italian nun, and I didn't say anything else. She said, oh, nearby here, there was an old monastery. Is it okay?
Yep.
It's, oh, really? Could you tell me where? And there was no other way. Could be left or right, you know? And he said, well, it's over there. And she pointed the place where I had that sensation. So I said, okay, it's true. And people who sometimes who are agnostic and say, well, I just can just for curiosity, I want to have the experience. And after having the experience, and then they check in books or in Google, and say, oh my God, this is the place that I see in the regression. This is the clothes. These are the clothes. And so this is fascinating with people. They get to know what they didn't know, but the soul knew, but they didn't know that they knew, you know. It's that's very nice. That's very
Well,
nice.
I've had feelings that I was, and this is going to sound pompous, but Saint Francis. So maybe we knew each other in a past life.
Ah,
You were a
that's
nun and
why.
I was a monk. Uh, so
Here it is on my Saint Francis. It's
oh, I love that. I love that. Because I even now I'm with animals. I'm like I can do things with them like you can't.
and I
You can
didn't
talk to
know that
them.
about that. We didn't talk about that. This is not prepared.
No, this is just coming up as we're you're triggering certain things in my thought. But anyway, so okay, another question I think that people want to know is, do you have to believe in reincarnation for them to participate in regression?
No, not at all. It's you may have the experience regardless your beliefs, and just sometimes you may have any religion or you have no religion at all, and you may have the experience anyway. It's not necessary, and you just have the experience, and maybe you may adapt to your own beliefs if you want. So it's totally free, but it's not a condition. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I actually was a drug counselor, and we used hallucinogenic drugs to treat them, and they would often have the lucid dreams you talked about, except it was just this life. At
Mhm.
least that's what we thought.
Mm.
Um, so that's certainly a possibility. And I know that the people didn't have to believe that they could remember back to, when they were infants and all that, but turns out, yeah, the memory can be there.
Yes, the memory can be there. Yeah.
So can everybody do a regression, or only certain people?
Well, this is important question. Neurotical people, this is it is important just to have a normal psychological structure and can do the regression. It is not convenient for bipolars psychotics, people who are under drugs effect or alcoholic effects, please do not come. But the rest, all are welcome. Mhm.
Um,
And this
all
is
right.
not discrimination. This is just taking care of.
No, yeah, they're already kind of having past lives and they're splitting, personalities. So yeah, you
Mhm.
want to keep them corralled, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, so let me ask you this. I'm sure that some people want to know the difference between like a group session and a private session, because I'm sure that they kind of have some difference to them.
Yes, I always recommend to start with the group sessions because it's nice to lose fear of them. It's like, oh, okay, I know how is the procedure. And in the group session, I'm going to talk a little bit about the technique. We are going to practice the breathing exercises. And then we are going to go directly to past life after the period of relaxation. Then we go to the past life, the most important moment of that life, and then the end of the life. And then we are going to do the revision from the soul, when the soul leaves the body and what was the experience from the soul. And then coming back to receive the message of the sage. So that's the whole procedure, and then what the nicest of the group sessions is the sharing, and people lose fear of speaking in public sometimes because we create such a respectful atmosphere that they can talk and they are going to be very respectful in sharing, and people dare to speak because say, hey, now that you are telling this that story, now I want to tell also my story that is connected with yours. So it's very interesting. And the private sessions, we are going to start from memories from childhood, memories from the womb, memories of first day of life, and then we go to past lives. And then it's going to be exactly the same of the group session. And we can talk, we can interact. In the group, you're going to be at home and relax quietly, and you are going to have your own movie, and then we share. But in the private, well, you share with me.
Yeah. So I like doing the group thing to start with. I've done a lot of different group work where I'm facilitating, but I've also done it where other people facilitating. And sometimes there's a feeling of safety when you're with a whole bunch of people that are going through the same thing. So I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about meeting Dr. Brian Weiss, and I know it's been almost 20 years. Can you tell us about how that happened and what was the experience?
Well, it was for me, it was like being with Messi, it's like, wow. And it was something that it changed my life completely. And I was very happy to have that experience. And maybe this year I'm going to be with him again. And but I always said to him, and I was always grateful to him, the courage that he had, and the humbleness, because as being a prestigious psychiatrist, and with his first patient, he had the humbleness of asking questions to himself, what is this? What is, And how is it that this patient is telling me stories of 4,000 years before, in that she recalled a memory when she was in a tsunami. It was a workmate of his, and she couldn't take pills, and that's why she went to see him, because to treat that problem. And she started recalling memories from another life. And so that's how many lives, many masters appeared for us, and um, we are now together thanks of him, Um, it, it, imagine more than 30 years ago to have the courage to write about these kind of things. And also it's sometimes people do not know, but when he started his research, he found that Dr. Ian Stevenson, that he was also a psychiatrist, he studied about the memories of children who remember their past lives. So just this very important. And today I had a supervision with people who were trained 2 months ago. And one of the doctors told me that another doctor, now he's paying more attention to his kids. And then he started mentioning things about his past life, So it's like, wow, just pay attention to the kids as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was sharing with a friend of mine about this call and about what we're doing, and I could tell that he was a little skeptical about that we had past lives and I've experienced certain things and whatever. And I'm like, when I talk, I'm telling you, I've experienced everything I teach. So uh, I know it sounds crazy, but I've experienced a whole bunch of things that I would have thought was crazy if I would have, someone said to it 50 years ago, this is what's going to happen. I'm like, no. And it turns out, yeah, there's these things are available, and I think it's a gift to be able to do it. So for you, what do you tell people are the potential benefits of doing this work?
Well, John, as you said, it's crazy. It's crazy to live without knowing that we are souls. That's no, it's just crazy to live uh, um, without knowing or having forgotten our true essence, just to remember how we really are. And that's the best benefit, because that's the difference. Crazy people do not know who they are. And that's why we are in this world. We are crazy. We do not know. But if we know who we are, if we know all the lives, all the sufferings we had struggle around lies and lies and lies, we will honor our life with more respect, and with the greeting of Namaste, I honor your soul. So we are in a moment of humanity that we need to change. Just like wars are over, we cannot go on playing that habit. So it's just to know who we are is benefit number one, just to it allows to get access of spiritual knowledge that we were not aware of. um, People may speak another language, uh, and also just to lose fear of death, just to lose fear of death, and just to see that it's a natural process of life, and that our consciousness is always alive. It will be in another plane of existence, and that love lives forever as well, and that love is what it sustains us, and that so I think because It's strange, no? It's crazy that we are here and we are afraid of loving and afraid of dying, and we are going to pass through these situations anyway, and just to face life differently. Just with it's like you change the glasses of how to live life and how to see life. Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, so this is not a religious experience. This is a soulful experience, which has nothing to do with religion. It just
Yeah.
has to do with who we are.
Yes, it's just, yes, you explain it very well. Yes, it's not a religion, because sometimes when I speak to people, is this, it has to do with religion? No, it has to do with the soul. And that word, it appears in all religions. Oh, what a coincidence. Is it going to be a moment that we have to be more reunited instead of being separated by beliefs? No, it's a moment to be more united, united in love, united in compassion, and also forgiveness and understanding can be possible. Sometimes people cannot forget or forgive, and just recalling or having the understanding, say, well, now I have more mercy in my heart, because sometimes there's also another extra bonus to have more mercy in your heart after doing the regression.
Well, sometimes you actually experience it like if in a past life I was a woman, and in this life I'm a jerk toward women. By the way, I'm not, but it might help to shift that.
Mhm.
Oh, there was another movie. Oh, it was Tony Curtis. He comes back as a woman. He dies and comes. He was a womanizer, and he comes back as a woman, a beautiful woman. And but he meets his friend and says, "Hey, it's really me." God, what's the name of that movie? Anyway, it was from the 60s.
You will remember.
Yeah, I'll remember.
Ah,
But that was another, again, that shows you how long people have been talking about this possibility
yes.
of being reincarnated. And God, I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Yeah, you will remember. Don't worry. It's just for learning as well, no?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
the
because
fact
we
that it
have to
came to me,
understand. We have to understand men. We have to understand women, and we have different experiences. Yes.
well,
Just,
and so that's another benefit that you may get from this if you realize, oh, in a past life I was this, or in a past life I was a different color, or the past life I was, speaking a different language in a different country, and so again, it can open up um, empathy for all different possibilities of people that you might have been or been associated with, that can allow you to hopefully in this life have more peace of mind and be, as you said, calmer and more respectful.
yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you talked about it briefly, but I don't think we emphasize it enough. So can you get stuck in the past? Can you get stuck where you can't get back from the memory?
No, 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 no. Brian was always tells the story that there was a lady that she was so peaceful in the garden and she wanted to stay longer there. So he said, well, if you want to stay there, you have to pay me another hour extra. So she came back immediately. So no, 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 no. Everybody will come back, and yes, even though in Zoom. So no,
Well,
no.
this brings up a couple things. One of is there's another movie. I
Ah,
don't, I don't know why I'm thinking of all these movies. So there's Back to the Future. Now that was not about reincarnation, but it was about connecting, like, the doc goes back to the 1800s and he gets
yes,
stuck there and all that. So it
but John, yeah, last week a patient or client here, but she was so I see surprised because of the time. Now that they say, because you will feel that, oh my God, it happened 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and no, it was an hour or an hour and a half. And in that, because we are going to be in Kairos time, you know, it's not going to be Chronos. You know, the Greek have two kinds of times. And so in the regression, you're going to experience Kairos time. So it's going to be the time of God. I mean, in an hour and a half, you will go 500 years ago, but you will be here. And for you, it's gonna be like, oh, it happened 10 minutes, you know, and it was different time. It's a different experience of time as well. Yeah.
Well, I think it's fascinating. I don't know if anybody else who's on with us right now has any questions. And again, if you're watching this after we did it as a recording, but you have questions, message me and I will pass them along and we'll ask Liliana to answer those so that you guys can have an understanding of what the possibilities are with this, because I think it's fascinating stuff. So does anybody have a question right now that they'd like to ask them?
Or question of something to add. Silvina, you are part of my fourth book from New
Yeah.
Zealand. If you want to add something that we didn't say.
Yeah, no, just I would like to say that well, I did the past life regressions couple of times, and of course that the first time was like curious. Maybe I avoid to feel 100% relaxing because I was having expectation, and also because how I ignore the knowledge. Even reading all the books of Brian Weiss, when you have to put your own body, sometimes you feel fear. And well, Liliana made me to feel confident of myself. So yeah, it helped a lot because maybe human being we used to need the contact, the physical contact, or many of us used to have like a psychology therapies, and it's like the normal way for the society. So this is another plan, but sometimes yeah, it just because all the job depends of yourself. And yeah, it's well, if you have the people that it's in the group, actually if they have the possibility to try and give this gift for uh, your soul, it's uh, it's a potential tool to get a better quality of life. Definitely, yeah, I recommend 100%. And yeah, you are going to be safe because it's nothing happened. It's not nothing new. It's all our knowledge that it's just to connect with the inner of our life. It's magic. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. And by the way, you mentioned an idea, and that is it would make a great gift for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
it
going to
is.
be a very different gift for Valentine. Hey, let's find out where we were before.
Yeah, because you might find out that your Valentine was with you in that previous life. So
Yes, 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 yes. Or you are sleeping with the enemy.
no,
But now you have to love each other.
let's let
Okay.
that go. But anyway, so yeah, so there's good options. And we're going to post this for everybody to rewatch in case you want to listen to it again and to share with your friends and families and whoever else you might think would be interested in this. Because we want to allow them to get the chance to come to the live recording that we're going to do on the 17th. Is it Saturday?
Yes, yes. I would like to end maybe reading a poem. What do you think, John?
Sure.
Yes, the last page of the book. Why do we run? Because death pursues us. It is the most certain thing we have known since we were born. What we fear the most, what we run away from the most, and the most uncertain is that we do not know when it will come to meet us. Once there, the surrender of accumulated or dreamed possessions and the surrender of the infinite journey that will make us return again and again as a curious child, eager to know the mysteries of being in this world. Okay.
I'll top that off with a Woody Allen quote, which
Yeah.
was, I'm not really afraid of death. I just don't want to be there when it happens.
Yeah. Yes.
So no, I think this is great information. And again, I think when people come and participate, they're going to find a kind of a magic that they never discovered before, because this is going to allow new doors to open and hopefully help you in this life to have a better life.
Yes, yes.
So again, you can write to me, john@heartfirepress.com, and you can find me on Facebook under John Seeley MA, and message me that way. And we'll answer any more questions that you have beforehand, or if you want to just tell people what you found by going through this yourself, that will help people to understand what it's about. So I loved having this conversation. I look forward to talking with you again, and we'll definitely look forward to the 17th, a week from tomorrow.
yes, another way to celebrate Valentine.
Exactly. What a great gift.
Thank you for being here and for all the people who will watch afterwards.
All right, you guys, thank you. And I hope that if you have any more questions, send them in and we'll take care of it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Okay, bye.
Bye.